The Fury finds bluefin tuna at San Clemente Island. The wind is back. Does that mean our sea bass bite is going down the tubes for a while? Tremendous kelp paddy fishing out of San Diego where they're catching yellowfin tuna, dorado, also copious amounts of yellowtail, and there's a lot more pushing up the Baja Coast right now. All that and more on this morning's morning briefing. Hey, it's great to be with you all again. Thanks again. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, he's trying to pull a fast one. He is actually on board the Malahini out of H&M Landing in San Diego, headed down the Baja Coast to catch all kinds of kelp paddy fish with his friend Captain Bill Wilkerson. And you couldn't be more right. I'm not trying to fool anybody, but I did want to tape the morning brief in advance for you all, and I have a lot of info, a ton of info. I've looked at a lot of stuff, talked to a lot of boats, talked to a lot of captains, so stay tuned because I'll break that all to you right now. We are headed down to the Malahini, and it's going to be great to see Bill and all the guys that fish with us on the Friedman Adventures trips. It always is a lot of fun. I'm down here in another area where the wind doesn't blow so hard, and there's a couple of nice guys surf fishing behind me. They just got a bat ray. Check that bat ray out. Nice big bat ray, put up a good fight. So I just thought I'd come over here where it's a little more quiet. All right, let's get into it. We'll start you out in Ensenada in Baja California Norte. Down there in that neck of the woods, the guys that are pushing out past Todos Santos are still finding huge schools of bluefin tuna. It is all over the place. You see it. It's foaming. It's coming out of the water. Trolling with those Mad Mac lures is still providing the Ensenada pongueros with some good fishing. A lot of 20 to 40 pound bluefin tuna around right now, but there are still the occasional fish up over 100 pounds, and that is so fluid. It changes from moment to moment. You can be catching 20 to 40 pounders on this spot and 100 plus pound bluefin on that spot, or from day to day. It just is constant change. That has been the name of the game. I mentioned wind, and it's really not an issue down where they're fishing the bluefin about 8 miles past Todos Santos in Ensenada. So that really is not an issue right now. And it isn't where the San Diego fleet is fishing either. It's mostly up there around San Nicolas Island and the Channel Islands. But I'll get to that when we get to our island report, because that does look like it could put the kibosh on our sea bass bite. We'll have to wait and see. We've seen water temperature drop already up there, so we'll keep our eyes on it for you very, very closely. So, taking a look at the bluefin tuna bite out of San Diego, most guys are fishing kelps right now because they not only have a chance to load up on those yellows on the kelps, which are mostly 8 to 15 pounders. There's a fair amount of 5 pounders. There's a fair amount of 18 to 25 pound yellowtail. There is a chance to load up on that to catch some dorado. There's a ton of dorado around down there, and that light switch is going to go on hopefully today on the Malahini. And there is also more and more yellowfin tuna. That big south swell from those Cabo hurricanes is pushing that fish up in our direction. At least that's what we theorize, and we're hoping will be the case. So you can do that, but in that same area, there's a lot of bluefin tuna. And there have been some really good hits here recently. There's been misses also. There's been overnight boats that just completely miss. Don't find the right kelp, get on bunches of bluefin that don't want to bite. But there's also been boats, again, in the 30 to 60 range on bluefin tuna, and that includes the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. boats leaving out of San Diego. Boats like the San Diego, the Malahini, the Liberty, the Grande. Those guys have had some exceptional fishing with some misses thrown in there at times. And when you're fishing for bluefin, you definitely want to go with fluorocarbon. We like Opsin fluorocarbon. www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. Friedman Adventures. And Greg Brown, the owner of Opsin, he's writing so many letters. He'll write you a personal letter. It'll probably be something like, don't mention FA anymore. My fingers are going to fall off. But put in FA and you'll also get a free gift. Fluorocarbon, 30 pound, perfect on the kelp paddies right now. You can even bump it up to 40 if the intensity of the bite goes way up. And in some cases, it's crazy fishing. The yellows come off those kelps and they're biting everything in the water, including the iron. So make sure you have iron with you, like Colt Snipers, Daiwa Zakanas. Those all work really, really well when you're fishing for those kelp paddy yellows, and bluefin will bite them. Any number of species will jump all over that. When you do fish iron, however, bump it up to 40 or 50 pound. You want to fish heavier string, that is for sure. So those kelps are producing magnificently. We saw it again on Thursday, some really great fishing going on. You find that right kelp, and you are going to come home with a whole sack full of fish. And man, there's a lot of big bonita also running around. That 5 to 10 pound bonita is all over the place. Great fishing down there in that neck of the woods. Having said all of that, if you've got heavy tackle, and I know a lot of you are on our trip, bring it, okay? I mean, I'm going to talk about the Fury in a moment, who was going to San Clemente Island to catch mostly 8 to 25 pound yellowtail. You need some significant gear for that, but not the kind of gear that they needed on that Fury trip. Let's switch over and talk about the Fury out of Dana Wharf Sportfishing, because they got into a bite in the gray. And when we say the gray light bite, it's right before the sun comes up. It just starts to get light. It's gray. And those fish love to bite in the gray. And they did for the Fury. They had a bite on the 40 to 100 pound bluefin tuna, fishing with knife jigs, and that's when you want to have 100 pound and a 2-speed reel. Not so much on a 40 pounder, but you get 100, 150, 200 pound bluefin tuna, you're going to want to have some heavy line to fish those fish with. So keep that in mind. It can happen anywhere. I've been telling you this. They're seeing fish between San Nicolas Island, Santa Barbara Island. They're seeing bluefin at Catalina Island. They had it at Clemente on the Fury. There are copious amounts of bluefin everywhere, and while it doesn't bite for everybody, and mostly is all show right now, every once in a while it gets on the chew. And we mentioned those jigs that are very effective. Poppers are also super effective. You can use poppers with a spinning rod and reel. Of course, we want you to go with Daiwa. They put out the best stuff, and you can put a substantial amount of drag using Daiwa spinning reels, as much as 40 pound, which is just going to get you pulled over into the water. You don't need 40 on anything. The point is, they're strong, and that's what you want to fish a popper with. So I'm loving what we are seeing, no question about it. Back to the kelp patties out of San Diego. Be a participant. When you're on a boat, look, try to find a kelp. Man, you'll be a hero if you walk upstairs and say, hey, Cap, see that kelp over there about 500 yards? And he drives over there, and you guys get bit. Man, they're going to throw a party for you on board. Somebody might even buy a free Diet Pepsi or something. So make it a participatory sport. Get involved, look for kelps, and that really makes a big difference. So remember, fluorocarbon, choosing a good hot bait, that's the way to go. 1/0 to 2/0 size hooks, for the most part, are going to work very, very well for you. And get that bait in the water quickly. If it doesn't get bit, change the bait rapidly. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. Your bait's not getting bit, change it. And I like a butt hooked bait. Man, that bait will swim out and away from the boat, right where you want it. On the Malahini and several other boats, don't be afraid to walk up to the bow and fish either. Sometimes the chum will be going in that way depending on the current, and you'll go up to the bow, be up there all alone. There's no noise up there, so you hear the splash, and then you turn around, there's a boil of bluefin coming out of the water. It's so much fun. And that's when you want to toss an iron on that or get a bait on that fish ASAP. So the kelp patty thing looks good. The weather's going to be fine. It's looking very, very good down there. And that bluefin, day by day, is starting to turn on. And Sean Hardigan, who runs the Mission Bell out of Point Loma Sport Fishing, told me I am seeing a lot of yellowfin tuna. It's mixing with the bluefin for the most part, but we're still running on some schools of yellowfin. Hasn't settled in yet to bite, but hopefully that's going to be real soon. And same thing on the dorado. You'll see a lot of flatheads on the kelps, those colorful, beautiful fish. They have yet to really turn on, but we're seeing that come together slowly but surely also. All right, let me talk about islands right now. We'll take you down to Ensenada once again, and off of Ensenada is the island of Todos Santos, and they have really good barracuda fishing going on down there right now, a few yellowtail, and really good calico bass fishing, like with Lucky Crab lures. Bait is an issue down there, so Lucky Crab lures work really well. Coronado Island, still very good. We see excellent yellowtail fishing. The grade's very impressive. It's a fly line bait for the most part. That works really well, and we're seeing yellows in the 15 to 25 pound class, 20 to 40 fish on most days. There are a lot of barracuda, good calico bass fishing. I mean, good island fishing. At San Clemente Island, those sea lions remain a real pain in the neck. They really are voracious. They will chew your bait off your hook. They'll chew your yellowtail off your hook. They'll chew your sea bass off your hook. But most boats are able to get a pop on those fish. Sometimes it's smaller grade fish, and other times it's nice big grade, 18 to 25 and up fish. So that is a nice venue right now. sea lions is just part of the game, folks. That's what you got to deal with. And back to a fly line bait and fluorocarbon. That works really, really well. So keep that in mind if you're going to Clemente. And then we'll bring you into Catalina Island, where fishing is really up and down. For the most part, it's real slow. You see a lot of bonita breezing around there, boiling around there. Every once in a while, they put on a really good bite. And a lot of times they're all show and they don't bite at all. So it's kind of frustrating. Some short calico bass and, some legals. Gale Forest has had, days with 50 on the bass and a couple yellows, but that's a good day, okay? Just so you can get things in proper perspective. And also there's some barracuda there, but cat has been just screwy this year. I mean, it's been a case where the conditions just fluctuate, where you don't get them to settle and be consistent. So drops in water temperature screw everything up. No doubt about that. On Thursday, boats got to San Nicolas Island, where there's been really good early morning bites on white sea bass. I mean, Jolene Thompson, who was our guest the other day and did such a great job, was on board the Freedom when they had a really good bite with 26 fish. And she said that, you get that early morning flurry, there's big halibut, there's big sea bass, and they bite good. But unfortunately, there was a whole bunch of boats there, and they just scratched at the sea bass and caught a few halibut, although one of the halibut on board the Freedom looks to be pushing 40 pounds. It was gorgeous, big halibut. They had a few sea bass, and the whole fleet there really was just scratching at it, where before they were getting limits of sea bass or in the high 20s on the sea bass, or even better than that. So is that wind going to stick around? If you believe the forecast, it's going to be a pain in the neck for a while, at least as far as San Nicolas Island is concerned. That place dropped a couple of degrees already, and when you get a drop in water temp, sometimes fish just don't want to cooperate after that, and we are certainly seeing that at Nick. Channel Islands, there is a lot of white sea bass up there, and some boats are still getting a piece of it. They're dealing with wind now also, and it looks like we're going to be dealing with it for a little while, at least into the weekend. We'll see how that all plays out, whether it's going to be so bad that you can't catch a fish. These are forecasts, so you don't really know, but the wind is going to have an adverse effect on fishing in a couple of those regions, no question about it. Fishing live squid up there, sometimes it's on a dropper with a 10-ounce torpedo, other times it's just a sliding egg sinker or a lead head that works really, really well. All right, let me get the coast covered with you. Same thing up and down the coast. We're just picking at some rockfish and sculpin, a little bit of bass here and there and barracuda, but really not all that good. Part of the best barracuda fishing has been up there on the Island Spirit. My friend Cody Rogers up there out of Ventura Sportfishing has had some days up over 100 barracuda here recently, eating the surface iron. He's been doing really, really well up there. Ventura Sportfishing, 805-676-3474. Going out with Cody and his great crew is always a lot of fun. And surf fishing, well, you saw these guys behind me. They caught that bat ray. It's a beautiful day to be down on the water. Lots of fun. And as we look up and down the beaches like Bolsa Chica and moving up into Redondo, there's some really good yellowfin croaker fishing going on. Some spot fin croaker. They're biting, of course, on sandworms that you can dig up right in the sand. Sand crabs work really good. Ghost shrimp, also a very, very effective bait. Corvina, California Corvina, also up and down the beaches. You want to fish light line on those 6-pound, and sand crabs, natural baits are what's going to work best of all when you're doing that. All right, it's like magic, right? I'm actually out on the Malahini. I'm, who knows, rolling up on a kelp right now, and I'm filming somebody with a dorado jumping out of the water and a blue marlin right behind it trying to consume, well, all right, maybe I'm getting a little carried away, but I'm hoping we have a great trip on the Malahini, and I'm hoping you have a wonderful Friday. I can't thank you enough for checking in here for another morning briefing. As always, we appreciate you getting us up over 4,000 subscribers, and the thousands of hours of content you're consuming warms my heart, and it makes me want to thank you every time I run into one of you. Wherever it is, it's all thanks to you. All right, everybody, have a great day. More Friedman Adventures as we go along. You look forward to some great footage from our Malahini trip, and of course, I'll see you really, really soon again.